Salam, I am your host, Aya Shabi, and you are listening to I Am Nala podcast. My guest today is Maha Jouini. She describes herself as an author, a digital communication expert, and new technology researcher. Maha has the most inspiring smile. Maha always smiling. Maha, do you get angry at all?
No, I'm smiling because I'm always have been surrounded with brave women like you, Aya. So that's why I keep smiling.
Amazing. We love your smile. You wrote a book called عاشقة من إفريقية. So can you talk to us about what's إفريقية? Because the name comes from Tunisia, and maybe explain to our listeners what is Carthage and all about that.
Okay. Carthage is an old civilizations, and they are the one who saved the southern Mediterranean from the invaders coming from the west, from Romans. So if you say any Africans knows Carthage by the war, by defending, by bravery. And another lesson which we can take from the collapse of Carthage, some of historians think that the collapse comes when the Romans invade us, which is wrong. Hannibal failed the war because the senator of Carthage betrayed him to the Romans. It's not because Tunisian and our people, they were not brave. No, we have been betrayed by our own people. And this is the lessons. Africa collapsed only when its sons, its children betrayed them. And that's why we always call for the good governance to be one Africans, because no one can kill us only if we fail, if we have some betrayals among us. Well, for the name of Ifriqiya, it's an old name. It's the name of Africa. And Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco has the name of Ifriqiya land, the lands of Africa. And according to the records of Amazigh, they believe that they have a god called Fergie, called Ifriqi. So that's why that name comes. And I want always to highlight that name comes from the indigenous people. It comes from us. No one gave us the name of Ifriqiya. It's our name. It's our ancestors who give that name to their own people. And these legends of God call it Ifriqiya. You can find Fergie. He's called Fergie or Afriki, like the name vary from Libya to Mali to around the whole of Africa. I understand that we as communities, we believed on the same legends, which say that we as African peoples, we used to travel around the continents. We know each other's, because I heard this from a lot of fellow Africans. They said that due to the distance, you the north of Africa, you don't know the sub-Sahara, and we don't have that connections. No, I'd like to say that when we come back to history, we will understand that we were united. And if we do have nowadays this distance, it's due to colonizations, it's due to other exterior factors. It's not our choice. It was despite of us. And I have to come back to your questions. I was an advocate. I did a lot of advocacy in favor of Amazighi culture. And if I did it, it's not because I come from the northwest of Tunisia, because my father, he comes from the tribe of Awlad Musa, and we come from those mountains. We are Amazigh. No, I did not do that for the sake of my father or my family. No, I did that for the sake of the north. Because our ancestors believed that they are Africans. And it was my proof to engage the northern community that they are African first. The Amazigh culture, when we called Amazigh, it means the free human being. They are free, they're brave, they defend their lands. And why I insist on the name of Amazigh, because we have been given the name of barbarians. And that name gave by Romans, by France. We didn't call ourselves as barbarians. And if French, Romans called us as barbarian because our ancestors didn't accept to be under their control. They didn't accept it because they are the owner of that land. They gave them the name of barbarians, of non-civilized people. And now our duty, I have to rewrite my history, rewrite the African histories. And that's why I start in 2011 to write the name of Amazigh in all of my papers. It's a way to take back the history and to empower that name, that civilizations do the internet, because internet, it's my leverage. It's another battlefield. Yes, I continue their war for sovereignty, for saving their land, saving who they are through internet. And I think after 10 years, I won it. Yes, I'm a winner because I published my book with my own name, Lover from Ifriqiya. I wrote about Amazigh, and people, they start to call us as the Amazigh, not as Berber, as barbarian.
You know, I remember when I was in South Africa, someone told me, don't you think that Arabs invaded us and colonized us? And I'm like, yeah, I agree. They colonized us in the north as well, because she thought that North Africa is Arab and they colonized the rest of the continent, which is not the case. Can you talk to us about this, you know, Arab, African, indigenous, all of these dynamics and how North Africa is perceived as one identity?
Yes, we are perceived as one identity because people, in some point, they want to see us as one identity. Some of our Pan-African researchers, they don't take the time to look at our history, to know us better. You cannot say we are Arabs because we speak Arabic. Even here in Mauritania, I met a lot of Polar, Wolof people. They are black and they speak Arabic. It doesn't mean that they are Arabs. If you go to South, I've been in Brazil, in Latin America. So people there, they speak Portuguese and Spanish, but they are Latin Americans. So language, it's not the identity. If I'm in China, I speak Chinese. It doesn't mean that I'm Chinese. We speak Arabic because it's the language of the nation, and also it's the language of the Quran. And after 14, 15 centuries, I think that language has been start to be a part of our culture. And even what we speak, it's a variety of Arabic. What we speak in Tunisia, it's a mixture of Arabic, Amazighi, some Italian, some Spanish, some words coming from Jew backgrounds. So people also, they have to make the effort to understand us. Also, we as a North African, we have to change our let's speak honestly. We have to change our communication strategy. We have to really focus on our history, on who we are deeply. So if we are seen as the Arabs, maybe people then they don't know who are the Arabs today. We have to ask about it. Who are the Arabs? Because the ones in the Middle East, in the Gulf countries, they are not the same as the people in Beirut, in Amman, in other side. We call it the Shem. There is nothing called it Arabs. Nothing called it Arabs. We do have the Arab League, and it wasn't a cultural movement, it was political movement. Comes on 1950, and that political movement didn't install real cultural Arabic movement because we are not the same. We are the North Africans. And I think today, thanks to the internet, thanks to this new technology, people, they start to understand the variety of the North.
I want to follow up on that, and I want to ask you, what do you think about pan-Arabism versus pan-Africanism?
Pan-Arabism. Pan-Arabism, it's a failed movement. They didn't success on anything because we don't have the same goal. Actually, we are not the same people, so we cannot success. When we talk about Pan-Africans, we are the children of the continents. We do have that geography. And in Amazighi culture, we do have a belief that when we say Amazighi is the people who belongs to Afriqiya land. So our identity comes through our land. It's the land who gives you the identity. This is we African, how we believe. So that's why we are African. That's why Pan-Africanism has never failed, because we refers to our land. And if you say Pan-Arab, where is the land of the Arabs? It's in the Saudi Arabia, it's in the Gulf. So how can I identify myself to a people, to a land which I have never visited? Don't know it. So it can't work, because culture comes from you, where you come from. We come from the north, we come from Africa, so we are African. If you come from the peninsula of Saudi Arabia, so you are an Arab. That's easy. Even in China, when you call Zhongguaren, is the people who come from Zhonghua land, who come from the Chinese land. And this is how it works. That's why Pan-Arabism movement failed. The Islamist movement also has failed. Because where is the land of Islam? No, we can't say it. Because lands belongs to its own people. We may have different religions, we may have different beliefs, but no one can own that land, only if you are there. Jesus, where he comes from? He comes from the Middle East. Musa also, Muhammad also. So if we talk about the Christianity, it starts between Khalil, Galilee, and Cairo. So Christianity comes from the Middle East. Jew also, they come from there. Muslims also. So we cannot consider that lands as Muslim lands, sorry. Christian, they were there before Muslims. Even in Tunisia, the church of Carthage were there before the mosque of Zaytuna and Aqba ibn Nefa. We were at first Jew, Christian, later Muslims. So no lands belongs to one religion.
And
no.
before that, what was the indigenous religions of North Africa?
They believed in their god called Mazigh. He's the god of freedoms. They were the free people. They believed on freedoms. So they have their own god, because that culture was a matriarchal culture, because the land and the roots and the family belongs to women. And if I'd like to identify my father, I would never say that he Salim, son of Salah. No, he will say that he's the child of Khira, the family name. The woman, mother, they belongs to their mothers. This is how we identify ourselves. So that culture was real matriarchal culture, and that's the reason why it survived long histories. They didn't disappear. The culture still stay alive because it belongs to women, and they are there to save lands, to save the culture, and to give name to their families and their children, because it's a matriarchal civilization. So their belief was in fertility, on women power, and in freedom. I have a paper called I wrote last month a paper for the Moment for Women, talking to them that the indigenous culture was a feminist culture. They hold the feminist value since the old time. And even in their dance, when we dance, some of the Orientalist authors in 18th century, they wrote saying that the dance of North Africa, it was a call for sexuality and what. But in reality, our dance has nothing with the sexuality or with calling for sex or anything. No, it was a dance for freedom. It's belly dance, but that belly dance is to celebrate their fertility, is to celebrate that they were a woman. That's why we have to take back the history and rewrite our history. What we were doing, what we are dancing, it's a sign of freedoms, signs of loving that we are a woman. It has nothing with sexuality or attracting or anything else. No, it's a belly North African dance, but that dance is to celebrate the lady who gave birth to the nations, the lady who works as a protector of the nation.
That is very powerful. And I want to, since we're talking about politics and we got a little bit about feminism, but we will talk about culture a little bit more later on. I want to give you a date and I want you to tell me what this date means to you, and then we will talk about it. Mm-hmm. So 25th of July, 2019.
25th of July, proudly Tunisian, whatever we are.
What was the date?
It's the celebration of Tunisian Republic.
Yeah, very close to that, but it was the date was a funeral. It was more sad than happy day.
I think you saw my video where I was crying. Beji Qaid Sibsi, right?
Yes, it's the death of Beji Qaid Sibsi. Tell us about that.
I don't know why I felt so sad that day. And I was in China and I saw that video that Beji Qaid Sibsi, he passed away. It's really, I don't know how I can explain my feeling, because I wasn't one of his followers. I have never believed on what he talking, or I'm more activist. I'm leftist activist. I always been on the oppositions, because it's not because I'm against the system, I'm against the regime. No, because I want to see Tunisia better. That's why sometimes we choose to criticize or to be on the front line, because we like to see our nation raising. Well, that day I just wake up and I saw the news that Beji passed away. I cried. That made me really sad. And the only thing which I remember about him, because I met him in the African Union in 2015, he greeted me. I was wearing the Tunisian traditional dress, and he said, this is Tunisian dress. الشاشية من تونس. He was really humble. He talked to me nicely. He talked to all of Tunisian staff working in the African Union. What I liked about him, that he accepted the feminist call, to apply the law of eradicating GBV, gender-based violence in Tunisia. His campaign based on empowering women in Tunisia. And I remember during the crisis of Emirates and Tunisia, and I have been banded to get my flights by the Emirates flights. He listened to me. I made a video that time in airport of Beirut calling for help. And the Tunisian ambassador was there in the airport. I received flowers from the embassy. My embassy was in my side. And that's the lesson to give. Like, at that time, I felt that Tunisia is a real democratic country. Because even if you are in the opposition, they come to rescue. That's a lesson of a good governance. That's why I cried here. I felt so sad. Our government has to understand that we are against corruption. We are not against the nation. What we do is for the nation. It's not for other purpose. If I criticize the regime, it means I criticize the regime. I didn't criticize my nation. I'm in their side. We want Tunisia, we want Africa better. That's why we raise all the time our voices. It's for the sake of Africa. It's not for other thing.
And do you think that women in Tunisia are trapped in cultural norms?
Women in Tunisia, they are the one who made their own culture and norms. They're brave. And when I see you are made in the proof. You are Tunisian, and I see my people on you. They're brave. They always raising their voices. They're fighting. They are changing despite of patriarchy, despite of all crises. Tunisian ladies, they were always standing for themselves. And this is what I learned from feminist movement in Tunisia. And what I remember about them, about Maha Jouini, Lina Ben Mhenni, all of them, that they're women, the women solidarity. If we talk about feminist movement, about women in Tunisia, I remember all the time this concept, women solidarity. They support each others. They are on your side. Even I remember once I have been harassed. I received cyber violences, and I went to l'Association Tunisienne des Femmes Démocrates. I went there to complain. I start to talk. I have been well received, and at the time of cyber violences, the feminist women, by feminist camera, they were the one who were defending me online. They defend me online. They answered to the people who were saying assaults about me. They were on my side. I felt so sad, so sorrow, and I couldn't even answer. Like, I just turned off my Facebook. I slept because I was, like, receiving cyber violence. It's really hectic. It's hard. People who don't know you, they just come and say assaults because your ideas, what you are writing, what you are doing, they don't like it. So they give to themselves the permission to judge you, to say shit about you. But my feminist comrades, they were on my side. They took the lead on my behalf. At certain points, after you fight a lot, you understand. You really understand that to be solidar with a woman, you don't have any choice. You have to be. You have to support each other's, because patriarchy is so deep. Patriarchy everywhere, is in the religion, in the culture, in your office, wherever you go. You will find this patriarchy effect, even online, on cyberspace. And as I'm always have been victim of cyberspace, because I choose to write and share my thoughts.
And I want to know more about what you think about the LGBT rights also in Tunisia. Do you think that is the challenge this community is facing? Is it a cultural or political?
For LGBT movement in Tunisia now, I'd like to say that I feel, despite of all the challenging we are facing, problems, but I'm happy. For a country considered as Arab and Muslim country, and there are youth, authors, adults, they are claiming the right of LGBTs. I think we are on the right path. We are given the space, secure the space to all of people to talk and to share who they are. The fact of seeing the pride flag in Tunisia, to having colleagues who comes from LGBTQ, it shows it's a good sign. Well, we are facing political issues, cultural issues, and I think this is everywhere in the world. Like we are not the only one who are facing this. It's an international debate. Still, conservative people, religious politicians, they don't accept the LGBT rights. But in a country such Tunisia, we are making it. Even if they are not going to take their rights now, but still, we raise our voice. We said that we are multicolors Tunisia. There are other gender among us, and that's the good thing. And people are learning about LGBT. There are people who didn't know, like for the issues back home, that people, they know only the transgender, and they don't have any problem with the transgender, because for them, like someone who grew up as a man, he wants to change his body or his gender into woman, he did an operation, so it's okay. For women also, and in this case, they really admire it. So they like the transgender. If you are a woman and you want to change yourself into man, they will clap for you. Hey, you are going to be brave. This is another problem. But if you told them LGBT, they don't like it. Like they're saying, oh no, you are against the nature, you are this and that. But educated people start to understand. Other people, by the time they will accept it, they will accept that Tunisia is multicultural, and we can live together, no matter gender you have. Our LGBT, they don't have to do this operation. People that don't have to be transgender to be accepted. No, they can live under the body they want. They can live however they want to live. And this is today is the question. No control on our bodies. No one has the right to control anyone's bodies. If they want to be male or female, it's their own business. If they want to be others, it's also their own business. So it's a fight to liberate our body. It's a fight to liberate our thoughts. And this is democratic culture. And I think you cannot eliminate the LGBT struggle from our political struggle, from our cultural struggle. It's connected. Everything is connected to other. So the LGBT challenge is the cultural challenge, is the democratic challenge in global.
I wanted you also to talk to us about tasfih, because also, there are different ways how culture and, like you said, patriarchy manifests in our society. And a lot of people know about female genital mutilation, but not many people know that in the Maghreb region, we have tasfih as a practice. How do you think that is related to cultural oppression?
I have been through this when I was young. I was on my 5 years old. My auntie asked me to endure my leg 7 times with a knife and resin. And she made resin, that small resin, with my blood. And she asked me to eat this 7 times. So on each time I eat it, I had to say things, ritual prayer, in a way to protect me from any guy who want to chase me in a legal way. And this practice, it's an Amazighi practice. And it starts when the invaders came, a lot of them. They came to our mountains to chase women, to chase young women. So they came up with this kind of protection prayer. That's why. So I have been through this. And the effect, it's really psychological, because you cannot make, like, on your head, on your back, on your mindset, you think that you are not able to make any sexual relation till you get off from that ritual. So that it's really harmful. It affected us because you feel that you are not the one who controlling your body. There are your ancestor spirits who are controlling you. And this is start to be well known in among the Amazigh community on the 13th centuries, on the 40th century, when during the time of Ottoman invaders, on the Turkish invaders. So they come up with this to protect their women.
I was also, I've been through tasfih, but I didn't know that it started as old as that. I thought it maybe started with colonialism. I want to know a little bit more in your sexual liberation journey. How did that affect you? And when did you feel that you are sexually liberated? As an adolescent, and then, you went on to adulthood and all of this journey, and now you are in your 30s. How did that affect you? Because this is back to the point that culture prevents women from being their true three-dimensional selves. And when we go through such practices that really screw our mindset and our minds and make us think we're less and we can't take control over our body, it also affects how we manifest, you as an author, you as an activist. It's part also of who you are.
Let me tell you something. When I published my first book, I was in China at that time. My mother picked up the phone and telling me, listen, no one gonna marry you after this book. No one gonna be with you after what all you were writing in Arabic. Well, our language is not a safe space for us. If you write bisexuality, they may accept it. If you're gonna say it in English or in French, it's okay. As a lot of feminists on last century, they start to do. They wrote by their thoughts about liberating on other language. Even till now, a lot of feminists from back home, they choose to write in French. But me, I keep writing in Arabic because it's my fight to make my language as a safe space, as a free space. It's another battlefield. Well, I want to come back to my sexual journey. It was horrible, right? Because I didn't dare to do it. And also, if people, they saw you're injured on your leg, on your left legs, they understand that you are from Amazigh, that you come from this tribe, and you are under this control. So actually, honestly speaking, on my 20, I have been refused. Like they say, no, we don't want to be with lady who's musafha, so like they don't want it. Because they also have believed that the guy cannot make any relation with you because you are under the control of your own marabouts in the mountain. So I can, So it prevented me from doing any relations when I was home. When I left Tunisia, let's say, it wasn't that successful stories for me. I had to work a lot on my conscience, on my mindset to make it happen, or even to decide if I like to make it or not, because it's come back to you. If you want to make it to please yourself, or if you're not. Because generally in our lands, having sex, it's also on the privilege of the guy. It's not in your own privilege. You are still waiting for him to ask you. So I had a lot of work to do on myself to be my own owner, to get off of this deep control.
Yeah, the stigma around it. There is a stigma, and so you have to destigmatize that conversation. I want to end this conversation before you also give us your final words about your family, because you are someone who really value family, and who really writes about it openly, and you also value your friends, you value community, you value it a lot, and you write about the people you care about openly and publicly. And I wanted to know a little bit about, I know it's also a sensitive conversation to have about your father, and the departure, and how did you feel, and also what traits you think who you are right now, did you get it from your father or your mother or the whole community? Tell us a bit more.
Who I am today, I get it, think, from my journey. whether in Tunisia or in Africa or in China, even now in Mauritania. You interact with people, you take value from them, they give you value, you give them value also. But who I am today, it thanks to, I think, I don't know, it's thanks to several factors. I loved my dad. He passed away when I was on my 15 years old. But I remember once I was in my TV shows and I talked about him. So my mother, she take up her phone as usual and she told me, listen, you are my child. Who you are today is thanks to me. It's not thanks to your father. And I think she was right. After 30 years old, she raised me after his death, and she was on my side. She was everywhere. And when I when I'm on the floor and I'm on TVs, I just say his name, Maha Jouini. I talk about him. At that time, I realized that I wasn't fair to her. I wasn't fair to my mother. She's the one, she was doing anything, and I'm just holding his name. So I think the ones who affected me, honestly speaking, it's her. Because I didn't felt one day that I'm an orphan, thanks to her. I lived in Hammam Lamf, near to the beach. And I used to smoke shisha wherever I go. And once I have been criticized, like, your girl, she's on the cafe, she's smoking. And you know what she said? She said, I'm the one who gave her the money to go and read her books on the cafe, on the beach, and smoking. I'm the one who gave her the money. So no one has the right to criticize her. She's my child. So I really respect her. I loved her so much. She was on my side, even when I'm doing a wrong thing. She supported me. And she has the right to blame me why I don't mention her name. It's her right. So I think who I am is thanks to her.
Rabbi khaliha. May she live long. So I want
Inshallah.
you, Maha, to give us your last words.
What my final word to all of African women, don't forget who you are. Don't forget who you are. Keep your fight. Believe on yourself. Love your community. They are the one who's gonna to support you. They are the one who believed you. They are the one who know who you are deeply. When I'm young, my mother treated me as I'm the author. She has never asked me to do the housekeeping because they said, my child is reading. She treated me as author. She's treated me as a thinker. I remember in 2011, whenever she watched it at TV, she used to tell me, I hope to see you one time there. Yes, she said it. When I was too young, she asked me, I'm waiting to see you there. نستنى فيك. And it happens. I've been into Al Jazeera, to BBC, Deutsche Welle, all of these international channels, and she saw me there. And she saw my books also. So that's why I love my community. They are the one who believed me at the first time.
Thank you so much, Maha. Thank you for being honest with us and being vulnerable. I know many of the topics we discussed, they're very emotional to you. So thank you for sharing your tears and joy with us, and laughter, and your very truthful self. And yes, you'll find Maha Jouini on social media. Just type her name, and the description has more information about her. Thank you, Maha. Buset. To stay updated with our work, go to nalafem.org and sign up to our newsletter. You can also sign our manifesto on nalafem.org/sign, and you can follow us on social media @nalafem. This is your host, Aya Shabi, and see you in the next episode.